There is arguably no better feeling in fantasy football than when you land an absolute steal. You get my 2025 Fantasy Football Draft Dominator, which is jam-packed with strategy and analysis for 250-plus players. And he's been strong in fantasy football. He's averaging over 18 fantasy points per game over 25 career games where he's played at least 73% of the offensive snaps. 2025 Week Winner, formerly known as the Heat Map. So you can conquer start-sit dilemmas, find plug-and-play streamers, and dominate your weekly matchups with this one-of-a-kind resource Discord community, where you can get personalized advice from 180-plus and counting sharp fantasy football minds that are helping each other dominate. 365 days of elite fantasy football analysis, resources, and Discord community. What is up, my friends? Happy Friday night, not Sunday morning. I can't tell, Tanner, I can't tell if I'm more tired now after a long, grueling week or if I'm more tired Sunday morning. I'm feeling energized but sleepy at the same time.
I feel the same way. I don't know, man. I don't have to wake up this Sunday that early, so but I don't mind these Friday night. I don't like these late night ones. Got a little pick me up, with popping the brew for the show here. I get to do that on Friday nights.
That's true.
A little frowned upon 8 o'clock in the morning on Sundays, all right?
Not if you live in Wisconsin, my guy. That's just a typical Sunday morning. We put beer on our waffles up here. What are you drinking?
I got me some Goose Island, the Big Mango Beer Hug.
All right. I'm going. Guys, so. I got a classic Coca-Cola to start my night, but I got some stuff waiting on the side here. But welcome everybody tuning in on our Friday Night Lights episode of Inside the 20. Tanner, this is what, 67? Episode 67, 68? 67 of Inside the 20. Hope you guys all had a great week. Hope you're ready to get into some Week 5 fantasy football. Hope you're ready to get into some start-sit chaos. One of the things I don't like about doing this on Friday night as opposed to Sunday morning is that there's still plenty of injury news to sort through over the next 24, 48 hours, where by Sunday morning, usually we have a better handle on things. But typically by Friday night, a lot of that stuff's out of the way. So I'm feeling pretty good about answering some of these questions. Now, if you are new to the show, one thing I like to let everybody know ahead of time is if you are expecting a quick hitting start-sit show, keep moving. This isn't going to be the one for you. I'm a big believer in not answering these questions with my gut. Instead, I like to answer with data, stats, facts, analysis, and walk you through my entire start-sit process. And sometimes those can take a while, but that's only because I want to give you the best possible answer that I can give you. Also, we are at the very end of the show, we will be giving away an autographed NFL jersey of your choice, courtesy of our friends, courtesy of our partners, BS Collectibles over in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. I give away an autographed jersey every single month. We've had some really good winners, and today we are going to do September's jersey giveaway because September kind of slipped away from me. I didn't get around to doing the giveaway, so we're going to do it live on the show today. I'm going to spin the Supreme Wheel of Randomness to see who wins that autographed jersey. The only requirement to enter the contest is that you must be a member of Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. That's it. If you're a member, you're already in the contest. Okay. I probably have some members that don't even realize that they're going to be spun on the wheel tonight, but that's how it works. You're automatically in. So, man, is that it for the housekeeping, Tanner? Is there anything I'm forgetting? Anything we should be
for these guys out here watching, this audience members out watching? Are they still eligible if they sign up today? Or what's your take?
Yeah. So at the end of the show, I will check to see if anybody signed up today. And if anybody signed up today, I will go ahead and add them to the Supreme Wheel of Randomness. I mean, you could become a BBFF and have an autographed NFL jersey by 9:30, 10 o'clock, whenever it is that we're going to be wrapping this thing up. So yeah, anybody who's eligible as well. Good question.
There we go. There we go. Now I think that's the housekeeping parts here too. And Mikey, before we really get going, man, I do want to, we've had a lot of injury news break down for this sake. And, if you're a busy guy like yourself, busy guy like me, a busy guy like, Jordan, I'm sure, and all these other BBFF crew in the audience here, I like to just break down a couple of injuries that have happened here that kind of catch people up. That way they know why we're talking about what we're talking about, because it's been a week of trying to track who's in, who's out, who's not. So, and like you said, still more to be announced by Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. when the inactives release. But just some key names here. JJ McCarthy out again. You also got Lamar Jackson with the Ravens out officially for that team here. We got Chuba Hubbard out officially, ruled out there for the Panthers. Kind of rolling down the way here. Still no CD Lamb, no Turpin for that team there. No Miles Sanders is questionable. Keep an eye on him there. Sounds like Blue's going to get a go for things, which is kind of will be interesting to see. Tyrone Tracy Jr. doubtful. Most likely going to be out there for the Giants. I know there's a lot more here. Alec Pierce ruled out this week for the Colts. Mikey Irving, Mike Evans officially out for this week here. It's wild. Just these names we're hearing just wild to me. That we're having so much. Calvin Ridley's even questionable right now. Hasn't really. I don't know if he practiced today, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one for Sunday morning. And then Trey Benson ended up on IR here for sure. So I'm sure we'll get some questions there. Terry McLaurin out. Noah Brown out for the Washington Commanders. Will Disley's questionable there. Man, feel like I've hit majority of the big ones here. Yep, that's the majority of the big ones. So lots of names out there still. It's still to be determined if they officially are out. So,
dude, I feel like I just missed all of this. Are you hearing me? Are you seeing me right now? Because my internet was just completely in the toilet there for a minute. So
I see you. Yeah, I hear you. Right. I see you. Yeah.
Dude, you were talking at warp speed because I lost you for about 30 seconds and then I think it just like caught up and it was crazy. But anyway,
it's all those packets catching up, that's all it is.
Yeah. Well, should we hop into it, man?
Let's hop into it, man. It's time. Friday night, post questions in the chat. We will do our best to get to as many as we can here tonight here. We got Jordan out here, of course. Jordan, always appreciate you chiming in. I think it's you've been the first comment every single show, which we appreciate. Yeah. So
it doesn't even matter what time. 8 a.m. on a Sunday, 8 p.m. on a Friday. Jordan's there, man. He's
there.
He's there.
Jordan out here says he's getting shit talked for the state of his roster this week. So he needs to quiet the haters. He needs two from either DeMarcado, Wandale, and Marvin Harrison. Half PPR. Mikey, what do we suggest here?
DeMarcado is going to be the riskiest of these three because could be him, could be Michael Carter, could be both to the point of both being useless. He's going to be the riskiest there.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison is coming off his best game of the season, arguably. Hopefully a sign of things to come. I think he had 10 targets last week. So you're feeling good about the direction that he's trending. Wandale Robinson is a almost surefire bet to finish as the Giants wide receiver 1 this year with the loss of Malik Neighbors, which that's the extent I want to talk about Malik Neighbors being lost. I just that was so heartbreaking, man. I have such an insane amount of exposure to Malik Neighbors, but even fantasy football aside, he's one of my favorite wide receivers to watch play. So just the NFL is more fun if he's in it, and it sucks we're going to not have him this year. So,
agreed.
I guess in this one, we're going to have to take it to the heat map. So, or the week winner, excuse me. Flashback. The week winner. Let's pop open this bad boy. God, work with me here, internet. All right. So, if you are new to the show, I'll give you a quick rundown of what it is that we're looking at. This gorgeous, colorful color rainbow explosion that we're dealing with. So this is a resource that I put together every single week. This is called the week winner. Used to be called the heat map, if you've been with me in the past. Now, the week winner is going to provide basically every bit of detail that you could possibly look for when you're considering any player for your fantasy football lineup. I do a strategic matchup analysis for quite literally every fantasy relevant player in every single game. We're talking 200 plus different quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. We even got defense and kicker analysis up in this bad boy. All you got to do when you're considering a player is double click on their name. That's it. And you'll be able to read their entire note when you're going through it. So let's start with the first one, which I believe we got 2 Cardinals in there, right? So we'll start with the Cardinals game. Looks in the week winner, that's game number 10, Titans Cardinals. Now the Cardinals, it looks like, are setting up quite nicely this week. They have an implied point total of 24.5 points. That's solid. That's above average. That's going to be a top 10, possibly top 6, top 7 implied point total for the week. So we're expecting touchdowns. We're expecting fantasy football fireworks. This is a good thing if you have Arizona Cardinals on your fantasy football roster. Now, where it gets a little bit interesting when you're trying to compare DeMercado versus Marvin Harrison is that the Cardinals are pretty heavy favorites in this game, more so than they will be in any other game this year. Going up against the Tennessee Titans, they're 7.5 point favorites. Now, when you have a spread that wide, that suggests a potential blowout victory. And when you have a blowout victory, those are the types of games where quarterbacks simply don't need to put the ball in the air all as often as they usually do. They're usually able to win the game with defense, keep the ball on the ground, in which case an environment and a game script like that would favor DeMercado and not necessarily Marvin Harrison. Now, again, keep in mind, this is all probability that we're talking about. It's not a surefire thing that, Kyler Murray only throws the ball 25 times. Who knows? Maybe Tennessee surprises and Kyler's got to put the ball in the air 40 times and now it's Marvin Harrison's turn. But if you look at what the data suggests a positive game script for the Arizona Cardinals, and that's typically something that favors running backs over receivers in general, right? It's not like you're going to go out and bench guys like CD. Well, terrible example. You're not going to go bench like Amon-Ra St. Brown just because the game script is overwhelmingly positive for the Lions. Anyways, let's dig into the actual players themselves. Now, let me slide this bad boy over. We're going to start out with Emari Demercado, okay? Double click on their name. You can see here all of the synopsis, I guess, for each player, but we'll dig into the details a little bit to start with so you guys can get a feel for how the week winner works. And then maybe moving forward, we'll keep it just on the bullet points at the top. We talked a little bit about the game environment, Cardinals being heavy favorites. Don't need to dig in too much there. But Emari Demercado versus Michael Carter, this is going to be super interesting, right? James Conner and Trey Benson are both now on injured reserve. That frees up 20 touches in the Cardinals' backfield that need to find new homes over the next month or so. Now, I wrote, by all counts, Emari Demercado and Michael Carter figure to form a 2-man committee with upside for one of them to run away with the job if they have the hot, quote-unquote, hot hand in that backfield. Now, for a little bit of comparison between the two, there have only been 5 games in Demercado's career where he handled at least 9 touches, and he maxed out at 21 touches. In those 5 games, so very small sample size, but in those 5 games, he averaged 11.3 PPR points and 13.4 touches per game. In those 5 games, he landed between 11 to 13 PPR points in 4 of those 5 games, mixing in a low of 8.9. Strangely enough, in that game where he handled 21 touches, he only scored 8.9 points. Now, in 23 career games where Michael Carter handled 9 to 21 touches, he's averaged 10.5 PPR points per game. So a touch lower than DeMercado, albeit on a bigger sample size. And he averaged 13.4 touches per game, which is exactly what DeMercado had. Michael Carter scored 10 or more PPR points about 50% of the time, including 15 or more PPR points about 26% of the time. Now, DeMercado, he's a former undrafted free agent from TCU. He entered the season averaging 1.08 PPR points per touch across 27 career games. Carter is a former 4th-round pick of the Jets. He entered the season averaging 0.87 PPR points per touch across 48 career games. Both of these guys are high risk, high reward RB3 flex options with uncertain playing time and a mouthwatering matchup and terrific game script, right? We talked about the game script. This thing could go run heavy for the Cardinals, but what about the matchup? This is where things get really exciting if you're considering one of these guys in your lineup. Now, after just 4 games this year, the Titans present a mouth-watering matchup for running backs. They are bleeding the 3rd most rushing yards, most touchdowns, 4th most PPR points per game, and 4th most PPR points per touch at 1.06 points every time a running back touches the ball. Running backs that handled 15 plus touches against the Titans this season averaged 18.7 points on 18.6 touches. Again, 1.01 PPR points per touch. You can grab all the box scores right here. I'm not going to dive into all those right here. If you ever want access to the week winner, just become a member of Basement Brewed Fantasy Football and you get every single one of these every single week. But the matchup itself is gorgeous. Like, you couldn't ask for a much better matchup if you are considering a Cardinals running back. Now, one thing that I noticed right before this episode that I have not yet added, that I intend to add after this show, is that Vegas is expecting bigger rushing numbers out of Michael Carter than they are out of Amari Demercado. That's not everything, but it does suggest that there's some insight, let's call it, that Michael Carter might be the running back to roster in this upcoming week. It might be the sort of thing where Michael Carter handles early downs, short yardage downs, goal line situations, where Demercado maintains his role as the pass catching back. Don't be surprised if you see that. Ultimately, there's going to be a ton of risk to both Demercado and Michael Carter. Although to me, the new Vegas lines and Vegas numbers leaning in Carter's direction have me leaning in Carter's direction. So just keep that in mind. I'll add that to the week winner following this show. Now, as for Marvin Harrison, you know what? Let me pop back up to Demercado just real quick. Forgot about these bullet points here. Bottom line, risky but intriguing RB3/flex. I'm expecting 10 to 14 PPR points on 12 to 16 touches. That's going to change after I'm going to rewrite that after this episode. Let's go to Marvin Harrison here. So Marvin Harrison, just in general, we're treating as a boom or bust wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside in a plus matchup. I'm expecting 13 to 18 PPR points on 6 to 9 very nice targets in this game. Floor of 6 to 8 PPR points if his targets stay muted, his efficiency cools down, doesn't find the end zone. Ceiling of 22 to 26 PPR points if he pushes for another 10 to 12 targets, clears 100 yards, scores a touchdown. DFS, he's a borderline cash play for me, but I'd much rather use him in a GPP. He's a priority stack with Kyler Murray. You can leverage off of any sort of Arizona running back exposure. Now Marvin Harrison, right? We've seen 2 booms and 2 busts from Marvin this year. He's averaging 12.2 PPR points per game. He's getting 4 catches per game, 6.8 targets per game. He scored fewer than 8 PPR points in weeks 2 and 3, but he bookended those with 18.1 points in week 1 and 18.6 points in week 4. He had 5 to 6 targets in each of the first 3 games, but last week he earned 10, and that's a good sign for him moving forward. He is seeing 21.1% of the team's targets. He's still very much a boom or bust wide receiver 2. His matchup with the Titans, it's a pretty good one, just like the Cardinals running backs. The Titans tend to be a pretty friendly matchup for wide receivers. They're allowing the 8th most catches, 6th most yards, 14th most touchdowns, 5th most PPR points per game, and 13th most PPR points per catch at 2.92. Now, wide receivers that played 75 or more % of the snaps against the Titans are averaging 18 PPR points per game and 8.5 targets per game, and you can see who that was below. Nico Collins had an okay game. Michael Pittman had a great game. Devontae Adams had a great game. Cortland Sutton had a great game. The wide receiver 1 for teams going up against the Titans tend to do pretty well. Feeling pretty good about Marvin Harrison. I'm feeling better about Marvin Harrison than I am about DeMercado. And it's not often that you can feel safer about Marvin Harrison than you do somebody else. All right. Last but not least, Mr. Wan'Dale Robinson. Gosh, man. Every time I think of Wan'Dale Robinson, I just get sad because I start thinking about Malik Neighbors. But we're treating Wan'Dale as a high-end wide receiver 3, expecting 12 to 16 PPR points on, again, 6 to 9 very nice targets in this game. Now, the game itself, not necessarily exciting. It's probably the opposite of exciting. Very low over-under, 40.5 points. That's tied for the second lowest among all 14 games on the Week 5 slate. Both the Giants and the Saints are sporting bottom 14 implied totals under 22 points. All of that suggests a defensive struggle, defensive slugfest, just the type of game that is kind of ugly and doesn't offer a lot of touchdowns, and it doesn't offer a lot of fantasy football points. Those tend to be the games that you don't need to avoid, but if you're in any sort of tiebreak situations, those are the ones that you want to stay away from and not necessarily target. Now, the Giants in particular, they're entering this game as 2.5-point road underdogs, which I thought was surprising. I like the Giants to win this game personally. No offense, Derek, if you're watching. But they do have a low implied total of just 19 points, under 20. That's usually never a good thing for fantasy purposes. Now, I wrote when I was talking about Wan'Dale Robinson this week, I said, I don't really want to talk about it, but Malik Neighbors is out for the season, freeing up 10-plus targets per game that need to find new homes. By the way, that is 30% of the Giants' target share. So Malik Neighbors, when he went down, 30% of the target pie just became wide open, up for grabs. Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, Theo Johnson, who I like as a sleeper moving forward, who also just so happens to have Jackson Dart's only career touchdown pass. Just saying. Now, Wan'Dale himself was already consuming 21.8% of the target pie. He already had a really nice target share, and that number figures to only go up without Malik Neighbors. He did see 25% of the targets last week with Jackson Dart in his first start. He's a surefire bet to finish this season as the Giants wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. He's already averaging 11.9 PPR points per game, dang near 7 targets per game, and 1.77 PPR points per catch. Of course, most of that damage did come on a 28.10 target explosion against the Cowboys in week 2, but still, this guy's getting about 22% of the targets, a number that should go up. He's a high-end wide receiver 3 with plenty of upside for more if he can stay healthy and stay on the field. Now, the Saints matchup for wide receivers is really, really interesting. Now, on the surface, they might look like a mediocre matchup for wide receivers. They allow the 8th most touchdowns. Otherwise, they hold them to the 12th fewest catches, 16th fewest yards, 16th fewest PPR points per game. But what's interesting about the Saints is that they actually allow the 6th most PPR points per catch. They are allowing 3.07 points every single time a wide receiver catches the ball. And now that suggests it might be a much better matchup than it appears, or at least it's not one to fear. Wide receivers that played at least 75% of the snaps against the Saints averaged 15 plus PPR points and 7 plus targets per game. Juwan Jennings had a really nice day in week 2. Ricky Pearsall didn't, but that might be because Juwan Jennings did. And Marvin Harrison scored 18 plus PPR points against the Saints in week 1. So if you have to choose between those 3 guys, right, we're down to DeMercado, Marvin Harrison, Wan'Dale Robinson. Marvin Harrison and Wan'Dale Robinson are going to be much safer bets for steady, consistent production. You're going to feel better about that. You're going to feel better about those guys. Now, the fact that it's half PPR makes it lean a little bit more towards touchdowns, in which case you would want to lean towards the Cardinals. In fact, half PPR kind of solidifies Marvin Harrison in this equation for me. It's a little bit of a knock on Wan'Dale Robinson just because the Giants aren't expected to score very many touchdowns at all, but still, if the Cardinals get down to the goal line and it is Michael Carter, that doesn't help you if you're going with DeMercado. So I think if it's me and I'm in this situation, I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison, and I'm going to go with Wan'Dale Robinson. And then I'm going to hope that DeMercado does well, and he is the guy, because now for next week, what I don't want to happen is that I put DeMercado in my roster and he ends up with 4 or 5 touches. So I'm going to go the safe route here, because Marvin Harrison and Wan'Dale Robinson are going to offer similar upside at a safer floor, at least for this week, if that makes sense.
There you go, Jordan. There you go. Hopefully that helps you out here, and you can quiet those haters. Quiet those haters after week 5 here.
Calm them down.
I know, right? It's too early for that. We got Sean Eschendale out here. Sean, appreciate your comments here. He did say you're on everything in Wisco, so we do got that going on in play. He has a little pick 2 option here. Sounds like full PPR, I believe, just by default here. But we got Kamara, Javonte, White, and Judkins.
It's a good problem to have. Before I answer that question, I'm going to ask all of you guys a question. I need you to vote. Should I go Summer Shandy next? Lion and Kugel Summer Shandy. Should I go White Claw Lemon? Why can't I get this in the camera? White Claw Lemon. Or should I consult? So this is my wife's beer fridge. Should I consult my beer fridge and grab an amber, an IPA? What do you guys think? Let me know what to drink next, and then we'll get to it. That's legal, right? And it's legal for me to drink on camera.
You can ask. Yeah. You can ask. We got
yours
IPA already. We already got Shandy underway. I mean, oh man, we'll keep an eye out here.
I'll answer the next one, and then we'll do the beer thing. Before we get into that, though, I'm going to do another quick pivot. If you missed the beginning of this show, at the end of this show, I'm going to be giving away an autographed NFL jersey of the winner's choice. We're going to spin the Supreme Wheel of Randomness. There's no cost to enter. The only requirement to get in is that you must be a member of Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. So Tanner put this handy dandy little QR code up here. If you scan that, you're going to get an opportunity to join the Basement Brewed Fantasy Football family. If you enter promo code YouTube, I almost said the wrong one. Enter promo code YouTube, all caps YouTube. You're going to get 50% half off your membership for as long as you decide to remain a member of Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. You're getting half off every single month. And if you join today, join right now, you are going to be included on that Supreme Wheel of Randomness. You could join this show and walk out of this show with a brand new jersey of your choice. Okay. In fact, Tanner, why don't we queue up the old BS Collect the jersey giveaway spot if we have it?
Can do that.
Are you into sports memorabilia? Then BS Collectibles is your one-stop shop for all things autographed. Whether you're looking to buy retail, stock up wholesale, or dive into the thrill of memorabilia breaks, BS Collectibles has what you need. Check out their retail website, join the live streams, or take a shot with the Fire Factory Mystery Box series and take your collection to the next level. BS Collectibles, whatever it is, we bring the fire.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
There we go. By the way, guys, we have a QR code. You got the website below. There's also one in the description, in the description as well. You can go click on it if that's easier for you. However, whatever way that makes it easy for you. We got 3-4 different ways. I'm sure you can figure it out and and get entered into this prize today, especially with that promo code capital YouTube, 50% half off the life of the membership. So.
Yeah, I don't know if it has to be caps. That's how I wrote it. I don't know if that actually matters. So just do it.
That's true. I don't know.
Just be on the safe side. Who knows? All right. Question. The only one I remember from there was Alvin Kamara. So I'm going to need a refresher on that. I was laughing at Sean's other comment, by the way. Summer Shandy is for guys who start Tua at quarterback. Oh, I hope my guy Paul Conley. I hope my guy Paul Conley isn't watching. That dude will defend Tua to the ends of the earth. But anyways, all right, let's go over to the old week winner for this bad boy. I'm going to start this beast with Alvin Kamara, which is good because that's the first one that you have written down here. Ultimately, I'm treating him as a volume-based RB2 in a friendly matchup. I'm expecting 14 to 18 PPR points, 18 to 22 touches. We've already talked about this game, right? We talked about Saints Giants. We're expecting it to be a low-scoring game, not a lot of fantasy football fireworks, not a lot of touchdowns. Now, typically the good news for a running back in a game like this is that they tend to be close. They tend to be grueling. Running backs do get plenty of opportunities. Alvin Kamara is a little bit of a different animal because you want catches out of Alvin Kamara. You almost want the Saints to be heavy underdogs. You want them to be throwing the ball more than you want Alvin Kamara running the ball. But still, he's should get a decent handle on volume here in week 5. Now, it's been a bit of a roller coaster for Kamara up to this point. He's averaging about 12.4 PPR points per game, and he's doing that while handling 19.5 touches. So it's not a volume concern. He's getting plenty of opportunities. He's getting about 20 touches every single game. The targets haven't quite been there, right? 3.8 targets. Usually with Kamara, you want to see 5, 6, 7 targets. That's how he's buttered his bread throughout his entire career, and it's just not happening that way. He finished between 11 to 14 PPR points in weeks 1 and 4. He did mix in a high of 18 in week 2, but then a low of 6.6 in week 3. But again, this dude is getting 70.3% of the backfield touches. On volume alone, he should be treated as a running back number 2, and we know about the upside he can bring to the table when things start to click. Now, where things get really juicy and really exciting for Alvin Kamara is the matchup. So after 4 games, the Giants present one of the best possible matchups that a running back could ever ask for. First of all, they're bleeding the 16th most catches to running backs, 4th most rushing yards, 2nd most rushing touchdowns, 5th most PPR points per game, and the most PPR points per touch. They're giving up 1.12 PPR points every time a running back touches the football. Okay. Omarion Hampton, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, all of those guys combined averaged 16.7, 16.8 PPR points per game on 14.6 touches. Okay. So once again, they're getting over 1 point per touch on a sample size of 5 or 6 different running backs that we listed here. Omarion Hampton smashed against the New York Giants. Isaiah Pacheco didn't, but he hasn't done anything. Kareem Hunt finally did a little bit of something in week 3 against the Giants. Javonte Williams smashed against the Giants. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt smashed against the Giants. Every running back that goes against the Giants, if you're not Isaiah Pacheco, seems to do pretty well. So I like Alvin Kamara a lot this week, more so than most weeks. Yes, Tanner, you are a magician with that. Man, it's like you can see that I totally forgot. All right, Javonte, dude, one of my favorite stories of this entire season, just reviving the career. You love to see when that happens. Bottom line, legit RB1. He's a legitimate RB1 this season. People don't want to accept it, but he is. I'm expecting 17 to 21 PPR points, 18 to 22 touches. Ultimately, this Cowboys-Jets game, this is one that I want as much exposure to as I can stomach in my fantasy football lineups. I want players from the Cowboys. I want players from the Jets. This is a good-looking game. It has a high over-under, 47.5 points. That's tied for the 3rd highest among all 14 games on the Week 5 slate. You got both teams sporting top 12 implied point totals of 22 or more projected points for each team. In fantasy football, that's usually a really good sign. That's usually a really good thing when you have 2 teams that are in the upper echelon of scoring projections. That's where shootouts come from. That's where you get fantasy football points. So there should be no shortage of touchdown opportunities, no shortage of fantasy football fireworks. Now, the Cowboys in particular, which we're talking about, Javonte Williams, they're entering week 5. They're 2.5-point road favorites. That's not a bad thing for Javonte Williams that the Cowboys are favored. Very high implied point total of 25 points. That's tied for the 5th most among all 28 teams that are playing this week. High implied point totals suggest plenty of touchdown opportunities. Being a favored running back suggests plenty of volume, no volume concerns there. Ultimately, the Cowboys are an offense you want exposure to in week 5. Now, Javonte, talk about reviving your career. This guy's doing it in Big D. 4 straight games of 14 plus fantasy points, including 3 games over 19, fantasy points. He's averaging a dominant 19.7 PPR points per game with the Cowboys. He's getting 19.8 touches per game with the Dallas Cowboys. He's getting plenty of work in the passing game. He's getting you 4.5 targets. He's getting more targets than Alvin Kamara is, which is wild. He scored 14 plus PPR points and 15 plus touches in all 4 games this season. He's the model of consistency, model of safe floors so far as running backs go. He's handling 73.1% of the backfield touches. Again, he is a legitimate RB1 moving forward. Now, his matchup with the Jets, it's a bit up and down for running backs so far this year. They're allowing the 10th most rushing yards and the 8th most rushing touchdowns. Those are obviously both great signs for Javonte Williams. He's more than capable of buttering his bread on rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, but they are limiting running backs to the 3rd fewest catches, 4th fewest receiving yards, 14th fewest PPR points per game, and ultimately the 5th fewest PPR points per touch. Now, running backs that handled 15 plus touches against the Jets this year have averaged 19 plus PPR points and 24-ish touches per game, right? A lot of that is buoyed. Bucky Irving had 29 touches and was only able to get 13, 14 PPR points out of it, but Achane scored 17 points on 21. James Cook scored 27 points on 22. You give Javonte Williams 15, 20 touches against this defense, he's a good bet for 15 to 20 PPR points this week. So feeling really good about Javonte Williams. He's becoming one of those running backs that's entering must start territory regardless of situation or matchup. White, Rashad White. Yeah, this should be a fun one to talk about. In fact, no, I don't have to update this. I already did it this way. Feeling pretty good about Rashad White just in general, right? Treating him like a high-end RB2 with RB1 upside if Bucky Irving sits, which it has been announced that Bucky Irving is out. Expecting 14 to 18 PPR points on 16 to 20 touches. The game environment was one that I was pretty surprised about. I was surprised to see that the Buccaneers Seahawks had a lower over-under. I was surprised to see that the Buccaneers are projected for just 20 to 21 points. I feel like you get Baker Mayfield over the last 2+ years in that offense. The Buccaneers are one of the better offenses in football. So projecting them, I think this is the 2nd week in a row that they've been projected for a pretty low total. They're entering week 5 as 3.5-point road underdogs to Seattle, which is, I don't know. I was surprised by that. Implied point total of 20.5 points. That's tied for the 8th lowest among all 28 teams playing this week. The unfavorable spread suggests a mildly negative game script that could tip a bit pass heavy if the Buccaneers fall behind the Seahawks and fall behind them early. I'll leave that up to you to decide whether or not you believe that will happen, but it's the type of thing that the data suggests could happen, right? Now that potentially would be at the expense of rushing volume, but typically Tampa keeps their running backs involved in the passing game. Rashad White should be fine no matter how this game breaks down from a game script or game flow standpoint. Now, Bucky Irving, he is out. That's going to free up 22.5 touches per game. That's going to free up another 4.8 targets in the offense. By the way, there's a lot of people banging the table for Sean Tucker, and I totally get that. I actually really like Sean Tucker, but Rashad White, people forget that this dude was literally fantasy's RB4 2 years ago. 2 years ago, he finished as the RB4 in PPR leagues. He's certainly no stranger to larger workloads. 27 career games where he's handled 15 or more touches. And in those games, he's averaging a really strong 16.7 PPR points per game on 19.6 touches, including 4 catches on 4.4 targets. So he'll get the ball in the air. He'll get the ball on the ground. He'll get plenty of volume, plenty of work. He scored 10 plus PPR points in 85% of those games. So a pretty safe floor. He scored 15 PPR points in 63% of those games. So that's an even safer floor. And the ceiling is there too. He's getting you 20 plus PPR points in 22% of the time, mixing in a couple of eruptions of 27.9 points in week 9 of 2023, 29 points in week 7 just last year. I wrote, he was Bucky Irving before Bucky Irving came to town. He should step in pretty seamlessly and pick up where Bucky Irving left off. He finished as fantasy's RB number 4 overall in 2023 fantasy football leagues. He's averaging 0.91 PPR points per touch this year. Which is, and over those 27 games where he had a larger workload, he was averaging 0.85 PPR points per touch. So he's even better this year, theoretically, from an efficiency standpoint than he was 2 years ago. I'm treating him as a high-end RB2 with RB1 upside. Really, really like Rachaad White this week. Now, the matchup, the Seahawks present a really awesome matchup for running backs that catch a lot of passes, but a miserable matchup for running backs that butter their bread on the ground. So thankfully, Rachaad White does do some damage in the passing game. The Seahawks allow the most catches, most receiving yards, and 14th most PPR points per game. But on the flip side, they actually hold running backs to the 7th fewest rushing yards, not a single rushing touchdown at all this year, 0. And the 10th fewest PPR points per touch at 0.78, largely because they don't allow many rushing touchdowns. Now, running backs that handled 15 or more touches against the Seahawks this year are averaging 15.7 PPR points and 22.7 touches, a very nice 0.69 PPR points per touch. So I love that Tanner just popped right in there. 0.69 PPR points per touch. So they are definitely stomping out efficiency. If you're going to score running back points against the Seahawks, you usually need to do it with catches. You need to find a way to find your way into the end zone. Alvin Kamara pooped the bed against the Seahawks, 6.6 points on 19 touches. That's crazy. Jaylen Warren did well, 17 points on 18 touches. Christian McCaffrey did okay, 23 points, but he needed 31 touches to do it. So Seattle's doing a really nice job of stomping out efficiency there. So feeling okay about Rachaad White. He's more of a floor play than a ceiling play given the matchup. And then one left, Judkins. Dude, I'm sweating. Going through this every week is crazy. Quinshon Judkins. Who are they playing? Oh, Minnesota. That's right. So this dude we'll talk about this in a second. He has a rising floor as a running RB2 in fantasy football. I'm expecting 12 to 16 PPR points, 18 to 22 touches. This dude is clearly the offensive engine for the Cleveland Browns. Now, the game itself is disgusting. Cleveland Browns, Minnesota Vikings. We got, oh my God, what is his name? What's the Browns quarterback's? Dylan Gabriel?
Dylan Gabriel.
It didn't sound right when it left my mouth, but it's right. Dylan Gabriel versus Carson Wentz. I mean, that's pretty nasty. That's pretty gross as far as a football game goes. The over-under reflects that, 36.5 points for this over-under. That's easily the lowest among all 14 games. Both teams have a bottom 7 implied point total under 21 points. It's nasty, right? Vikings, quote unquote, at Browns. It's not really at Browns. It's in Europe. It's shaping up to be a defensive slugfest, supremely limited potential for touchdowns, right? That's a bad sign for fantasy football purposes. The Browns in particular, they're entering week 5 as pathetic 4.5 point home underdogs with a dangerously low implied point total of just 16 points. I believe that's dropped even further. I think they're under 16 points now. They're a much better offense to attack with the Vikings defense this week in fantasy football than they are one you want to put in your fantasy football lineups. Now, Judkins himself is the lone bright spot in that offense. And it's very clear that they want to funnel their entire offense through Judkins, and his floor is rising more and more each game. And I'll talk about why in just a second. After 3 games, he's averaging a very strong 16 PPR points per game, 19 touches per game, 2.7 catches on 3.0 targets. He's climbing in touches. He went from 13 to 19 to 25. He's climbing in PPR points, going from 10 to 16 plus to 21 plus. And most importantly for his floor, especially playing in the offense that he's playing in, Quinshon Judkins saw and caught all 4. He saw 4 targets last week. That's a good sign for his floor moving forward, because if the Browns are going to be losing, they're going to need to be throwing the ball. Hopefully they keep him on the field. He's starting to carve out a little bit of a 3-down role in Cleveland. He's leaving Jerome Ford. He's leaving Dylan Sampson behind, leaving both those guys in the dust. Jerome Ford only had 2 targets. Dylan Sampson only had 1, suggesting true 3-down potential for Quinshon Judkins. I'm not ready yet to call him a workhorse, a bell cow, but if we see it again in week 5 where he's getting more targets than the other Browns pass catchers, things are going to be looking really nice for Quinshon Judkins for the rest of the season. Over the last 2 weeks, this dude is handling 84.2% of the Browns' backfield touches. Feeling really good about Judkins moving forward. Now, his matchup against the Vikings, it's pretty mediocre. The Vikings are allowing the 9th most rushing yards, 8th most rushing touchdowns, 16th most catches, 15th most PPR points per game, but they are holding running backs to the 12th fewest receiving yards, no receiving touchdowns, and 9th fewest PPR points per touch. Pretty much mediocre across the board. Nothing that they're like particularly great at, nothing that they're particularly terrible at. DeAndre Swift, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Chase Brown, Kenneth Gainwell, all those guys combined averaged 16.34 PPR points on 20.2 touches against the Vikings. All 5 of those guys handled 14 plus touches. And 3 of them scored more than 10 PPR points. And the other thing that we didn't talk about with Quinshon Judkins or this game in general is that it should be a close game. Like usually the Browns are entering these games as 7, 8, 9 point underdogs, and that threatens the rushing floor for ball carriers. This game only has a spread of 3.5, and I've seen it as low as 2.5. Or excuse me, it actually was on the other side, 4.5. But as of right now, it's sitting at 3.5. Should be a fairly close game. They should be able to run the ball. It should be a neutral game script. They might be able to keep it on the ground. There's a lot of reasons to feel good about Quinshon Judkins this week. So going back to the question, how many do we get? Pick 2. Javonte has to be in there. He has that's the surefire no-brainer one to me. And then from there, it's debatable. It really is debatable. This one's tough. Javonte for sure.
I mean, take a look at just game script in general, right? Like the Browns game can go either way with Judkins. Tampa, you've lost a lot of pieces here. Chris Godwin's back. I mean, Ibuka is doing this thing, but where do you go in the backfield? That's always been part of the game there for the Bucs Seahawks. And quite frankly, you're looking behind on that based off the game script and the totals, implied totals. And then Javonte for sure, but Kamara's favored. I mean, right now the Saints are favored to win, guys. It's amazing. Don't tell any Saints fans this.
Yep. And not only that, but the matchup is outstanding. Like the Giants as a for running backs is gorgeous. So Rachaad White, there's some red flag. Rachaad White is probably my favorite plug and play running back this week. Like I'll take him over Rico Dowdle, over Michael Carter, DeMercado. There's so many plug and play options, but you don't need a plug and play. You got guys that can go. Like it's tempting to say White because he's the new shiny toy, and kind of the same for Judkins, but you think about game script, you think about matchup, and you like all of these guys are going to have very similar volume. So then you go to the next spot, right? How's the game going to flow? What type of matchup do they have? And when you combine all those 3 things together, I'd probably go Kamara as my second option over White and over Judkins. It's hard to leave Judkins on the bench right now, but there's just a lot working in Kamara's favor. So I'm going to go with Javonte Williams and Alvin Kamara.
I agree. Kamara. I mean, you're looking at top 5 most favorable for running backs, and then the other 2 are, 20 or was it 30? No, sorry, 15 and 14. I think I'm with you on that. Javonte and Kamara in this pick 2 here.
Yeah, I feel really, really strong, really confident in Javonte. I will say that the rest of this is like a 50-50 type of, or let's say 33 for all 3 of them. I'm leaning Kamara's direction, but like a hair, not too much,
Yeah, and then Sean dropped one little extra here, and like we already talked to DeMercado, right? Possibly Michael Carter. Yeah, I mean Michael Carter could be taking reps here for all we know. It sounds like I've been hearing more and more of him being more favorable in that. But Woody Marks out here, I mean, he outsnapped Chubb last week. Yep. I know that because I had a bet on Chubb and snap. That did not go well. So, but at the same time, like Woody Marks has to be, especially against the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens.
I hope there's another Woody Marks question in here somewhere so that we can dig in on Woody Marks. But the answer here is Woody Marks for me, for sure. Like
Correct.
If he's going to be, I feel better about him being the next man up over Nick Chubb than I do about DeMercado being the next man up over Michael Carter. Texans are favored. Texans are going against the Ravens, who, by the way, just so happen to be allowing the most PPR points per game to running backs by a long shot. Like, they are getting destroyed. They're getting destroyed everywhere, but they're getting hammered by running backs. So I hope we get a chance to dig in on Woody Marks, because it's a very exciting play this week.
Jordan says, pour one out for Neighbors.
Amen, brother.
I'll drink one for Neighbors, but yeah.
Sad day. I had Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, and Tyreek Hill on one team this year. I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? But anyway.
Unreal. Sean's like, don't be surprised by the Titans. Hey, I hear that from Sam, Mr. First Downs, all the time. I do shows with. He's on the wall. I mean, he's on the banners and all this stuff. So it's kind of wild. Like, even he's saying it.
Yeah.
Our man, Derek Devereaux. Derek, appreciate you, buddy. Evening, gentlemen. Starting Daddle as your RB2, but need a flex between Keenan Allen and both Cardinals running backs. A full point PPR. Keep Brian Keenan or take a chance on one of the backs taking that job.
Yeah, I'm going Keenan here. First of all, it's funny that Derek, you're using Rico Dowdle, because Derek has been banging the Chuba Hubbard drum since before anybody even know who Chuba Hubbard was. Like, anybody who hung out in BBFF Discord server over the last 3 years knows that Derek Devereaux is like the Chuba Hubbard guy, and he nailed it, dude. Chuba's been the man over the last. So now I talk about pouring one out. Derek certainly poured one out when Chuba went down, unless he just got himself a starting running back out of it. But for the flex, I'm going Keenan Allen here, man. Maybe we'll dig into this one in a little bit, but that Chargers Commanders game, that's one that I want exposure to. That one's got shootout written all over it. That Cardinals backfield is one that I'm mostly avoiding this week, unless I don't have an option, and you have a really good option in Keenan Allen. Like, don't get me wrong, I have DeMercado in a lot of lineups. I have Michael Carter in a lot of lineups, but those are in leagues where I'm like paper thin at running back and I don't have other options. They're kind of I don't want to call them last resort, but they're kind of like when I'm really reaching, that's where I'm going the Cardinals running backs. But when you got Keenan Allen already, I'm riding Keenan Allen in the possible shootout with the Commanders, and then I'm just waiting and seeing what happens with that Cardinals backfield.
Yeah, and just a little reminder too, Chargers are missing both tackles, so it's called getting the ball out quick, and you go to your vet presence in that matter. Yeah. So, just something to be aware of. The War Pup on Twitch. Appreciate you chiming in here. Should I trade Worthy now before Rashid comes back? Ooh,
now that's a good question. Let's definitely dig into that in 1 minute. I want to go back. Do we come up with a conclusion on which beer I should be?
Yeah, let's pop down here. We got the IPA, the Shandy. It's still warm outside. Hit the Shandy. Of course, we talked about Sean and the Shandies. It looks like the Shandies won, man. So it sounds like the Shandies won.
Shandy it is. Let's do it.
There we go.
All right, let's hop into this Chiefs question. Before we do, Tanner, why don't we roll the jersey giveaway video if we have that one handy? Guys, if you missed the beginning of the show, I am going to be giving away an autographed NFL jersey of the winner's choice. So whoever wins gets to choose the autographed jersey that they want. I do an autographed jersey giveaway every single month. Take a look if we got it. What's up, my fellow fantasy football freaks? Would you like a monthly opportunity to win an autographed NFL jersey of your choice? That is exactly what you get as a member of the Basement Brewed Fantasy Football family. Just by being a BBFF subscriber, you're automatically entered into our drawings and contests every single month. And trust me, these giveaways are the real deal. For example, Brian Beaver won our NFL Playoffs contest in January and took home jerseys signed by Drew Brees and T. Higgins. In February, diehard Seahawks fan Isaac Zart won our Super Bowl predictions pool and chose a retro blue Seahawks jersey signed by JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. In March, Greatest Show on Turf Rams fan Mark Vandeloo won our March Madness brackets and chose an old school Rams jersey autographed by their all-time leading receiver, Isaac Bruce. And that's only the beginning. In the last 12 months alone, we've given away jerseys signed by Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, Alvin Kamara, Earl Campbell, Amon Green, and a lot more, all courtesy of our friend and partner BS Collectibles in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. So if you love fantasy football and you want a monthly opportunity to add an amazing autographed jersey to your collection, join the BBFF family today using the link that we left for you in the description of this episode.
Love it.
I gotta bring that mustache back, man.
That's the summertime mustache, man. That's the Mikey summertime stash.
Dude, it's
always every summer.
It's the 4th of July. It was a 4th of July thing I did like 3 years ago. Wife threw a fit, hated it. So now it's tradition. Like it's coming back every single time.
Well, you got to do it. So.
Dude, I tell her this all the time. I think she loves it. I think she absolutely loves the mustache. She just cannot in good faith admit it. But I'm pretty sure you love it. So anyway.
Love it.
All right. Tanner, what do you think? You're a Chiefs fan. What are you thinking here?
Whew. So let's talk about this, guys. We're talking about trade worthy now, gets value now before Rashee Rice comes back. Now, this is all dependent on your roster as well. Like, what do you have to fill in here? Or do you have Rice sitting on the back end? There's a lot of what ifs out here if you're looking to trade worthy. And maybe you're needing a running back because everybody else is hurt or something in that matter, okay? But let's talk about the value here that comes into play. We went a full year now without Rashee Rice. Still went to the Super Bowl, still valuable. Xavier Worthy turned into what he is today without Rashee Rice. But what does Rashee Rice do for this offense? He does extremely a lot. He's a little bigger. He's quite frankly, he's a guy that can go inside for the yak yards. And if you're desperate right now to go get maybe some running back depth, maybe you can get a nice little trade off with some of these injured guys that'll be back here in a few weeks. If you're going to go get your value, go get it now. Because quite frankly, I believe that when Rashee Rice comes back into this offense, Patrick Mahomes loves the guy. And we saw it during the preseason. We saw it in training camp. You don't need to see much else there outside of what he's done with the Chiefs here. If you're really needing to, for some odd reason, to trade worthy, I guess go ahead, but make sure you get really good value for him. If you can hold on to Worthy, I would hold on to Worthy because I believe he is a big part of this offense here. Travis Kelce is not the same. Noah Gray has not been given the targets he needs to be. And you're relying on Juju and Hollywood Brown, okay, in this offense here. Tyquan, great deep stretch. But between Worthy and a Rice from Mahomes offense, who, by the way, threw 4 touchdowns last week, Worthy being a big part of this, will still be part of this offense. Mm-hmm. Where I personally wouldn't trade Worthy unless I am desperately needing some pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Tanner said, it's almost impossible to answer these questions because it depends on so many things, like the makeup of your roster, how your roster is currently sitting. Generally speaking, Xavier Worthy's not somebody that I'm trying to sell. I totally understand the idea, and I love the idea of sell high. I just don't necessarily think that Worthy's it. I mean, I just pulled up on the week winner. You got Patrick Mahomes throwing 35.5 passes every single game. And when you look at that rushing attack, like there isn't one in Kansas City. They do not have a running game at all right now. So they're just going to put it in the hands of their 3-time MVP. I lost track of how many MVP awards Patrick Mahomes has, and he looks great. Put it in his hands. Even fine. Rashee Rice takes 10 targets a game. There's still 25 to go around, and Xavier Worthy is going to be a big part of that. Now he's
just remember too, Xavier Worthy. He comes out of the backfield sometimes too. He gets those jet sweeps, and he got him while Rashee Rice was playing last year for that little bit before the Chargers game got injured. He will come out of the backfield just like he did last week for the team. So just because Kareem Hunt and Pacheco can't get stuff going generally doesn't mean you don't got Worthy pulling a Debo kind of roll out here. So.
And don't forget that the Chiefs spent an expensive draft pick on Xavier Worthy. He's not just some dude that came out of nowhere like Tyquan Thornton. They drafted him to be a big part of that offense. Rashee Rice is going to be the wide receiver 1. He's going to be the most consistent option. Worthy's going to have some big games. So think kind of like the Jalen Waddle to Tyreek Hill, or think like the Devontae Smith to AJ Brown. Like, he's not going to be the wide receiver 1, but he's going to have some big days. I wouldn't be trading him. If he's like the last wide receiver on your own personal depth chart, and you could move him to bring in a new starting running back or something, I get it. But generally speaking, I'm not trying to ship Xavier Worthy off.
No, I'm not. Appreciate it, Warp Up. Thank you for the comment there. We got Isaac Zart out here. He was offered CeeDee Lamb and RJ Harvey for Tootin, Chase Brown, and Tet. Thoughts on this trade in a PPR league?
Yeah, hammer that right now. CeeDee Lamb will be back next week, maybe 2 weeks. Chase Brown is a sinking ship in that offense. Like, dude, even when Joe Burrow was playing, he wasn't doing very well. So Chase Brown, like, if you take Ted McMillan, like, the only way that this would be any different is if it was a dynasty, and even if it was dynasty, I would do it. Yeah, man, I'm hammering this trade. Like, real quick, one concern: CeeDee Lamb is not going to be the same when he comes back. High ankle sprains are no friggin' joke, but all you're really losing here is Ted McMillan, and you're getting CeeDee Brown, you're getting RJ Harvey, who has he's my number 1 every week on the week winner. I put together a list of running back bench stashes, and RJ Harvey's at the very top of that because they drafted him high for a reason. It's only a matter of time before he starts getting more opportunities in that offense. And don't get me wrong, J.K. Dobbins is killing it. But if anything happens to J.K. Dobbins, who's no stranger to injury, if anything happens to him, RJ Harvey is an instant RB1. And he's just sitting there on your bench waiting, which is arguably where Chase Brown belongs, even despite his volume right now. So, dude, now, to be clear, I'd also really like Bashal Tootin for the same reason that I like RJ Harvey. But still, man, like, if I can dump Chase Brown and pick up CeeDee Lamb, understanding CeeDee Lamb is probably not going to be top 5 CeeDee Lamb, but could still be top 15 CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that trade.
I agree. I'd pull the trigger. Appreciate it. Trevor Austin out here. Good evening, Mikey. I'm in a 10-team half PPR plus half PPFD. I need to pick 3 from Worthy, Egbuka, and Genty and Keenan.
Whew. Somebody's the odd man out here, huh? Okay. All right. I mean, first of all, let me say good problem to have. Like, you're going to go into week 5 with one of Xavier Worthy, Emeka Egbuka, Ashton Genty, or Keenan Allen on your bench. That's team's looking pretty good if that's where you're at. Being half PPR makes it hard to leave Genty on the bench because that tips a little bit back towards touchdowns. Although Genty has one good game, dude. Holy shoot! How do we even? You know what we have to do? We gotta go to the week winner.
Go to the week winner, man. Go to the week winner for this one.
Yeah, let's do it. Where should we start? Let's start with Worthy because I was just hanging out with Pat Mahomes. Here we go. X Worthy. Treating him as an exciting wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 spike week upside. We're looking at 13 to 18 PPR points, 7 to 10 targets. Feeling really good about it, Xavier Worthy, especially with Rashee Rice not back in the picture yet. Game environment. Chiefs in general, it's an offense that we feel pretty good about. They're entering week 5 as 3.5-point road favorites. Strong implied point total of 25 points. That's tied for the 5th most among all 28 teams playing this week. Favorable spread suggests a mildly positive game script that could tip a bit run heavy if the Chiefs do play this game with a lead, potentially at the expense of passing volume. So you don't love that for Worthy, but still, it's a really nice implied point total. You're feeling pretty good about the Chiefs scoring touchdowns. And if they score touchdowns, there's a good chance that Xavier Worthy's one of those guys. He played 59% of the snaps and garnered 22.9% of the targets in his week 4 return. All of that is a good sign. The fact that he garnered basically 23% of the targets, but he only played 59% of the snaps, guys. Usually this type of target share is on a 70 to 80-ish% snap count. Okay. So dude is getting the opportunity when he's on the field, they're looking his way. He caught 5 of 8 targets, 83 scoreless yards, 38 scoreless yards on 2 rushing attempts like Tanner was talking about. They gave him 2 carries last week, and he crushed with them, 38 scoreless yards. He's picking up right where he left off last year, by the way. He averaged 17 plus PPR points and 7 plus targets per game over the final 10 games of last season. He should continue that trend moving forward until Rashee Rice comes back, but that's not something you need to worry about this week. His matchup, the Jaguars are a pretty mediocre for fantasy football purposes. They're holding wide receivers to the 11th fewest PPR points per catch, but they're allowing the 8th most catches, 15th most yards, 14th most touchdowns, 11th most PPR points. When I say fewest and most in those categories, they should be taken with a grain of salt because all of that is very mediocre. It's not scary. It's not exciting. It's just mediocre. When you look at wide receivers that are playing 75% plus of the snaps against the Jaguars, they're getting you about 15 PPR points and 9 targets per game. Nico Collins did really well against the Jaguars in week 3. Andre Iosivas didn't, but does he ever? Like, I don't even know if I should have included him in this list. He's only in here because he played 75% of the snaps. Jamar Chase, he has one big game this year, 36.5 PPR points. That was against the Jaguars back in week 2 with Jake Browning. Partially Jake Browning. T. Higgins did well. He got you 14. Ted McMillan got 11 plus. Lee Gett didn't, but he hasn't done anything this year. Now, if Xavier Worthy stays, if his snap count stays low and he stays in that 50 to 74% threshold, the wide receivers in that range are only averaging 4.8 PPR points and 5 targets per game. But look who we're talking about. Kendrick Bourne, who was not a 50 to 74% player yesterday. That was week 4 when he was playing behind Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings. As you can see, all of those guys here, none of them really did much of anything. Christian Kirk hasn't done anything yet. Xavier Hutchinson hasn't done anything. Hunter Renfrow has 1 game. So this isn't a great bucket to look in when you're considering Xavier Worthy. Ultimately, you're feeling pretty good about Xavier Worthy. Emeka Egbuka. Tanner, you are on fire with the timing there, by the way. Emeka Egbuka, Buccaneers game. Listen, you got Egbuka without Mike Evans. You got to feel pretty good about that just in general. Treating him like a high-end wide receiver 2, weekly wide receiver 1 upside. We talked a little bit about this game and how it's just kind of an ugly game. Low over-under, low implied point total for the Buccaneers, significantly lower for the Bucs than it is in the Chiefs. That theoretically gives Xavier Worthy more opportunity for touchdown or more path to touchdown than Emeka Egbuka. But I mean, Egbuka's balling, man. He's balling. Rookie is off to a hot start. 4 straight games over 12 PPR points to start his career. He's averaging 17.8 PPR points per game, 7.8 targets per game. He has 6 to 10 targets, 4 to 6 catches, and 12 plus PPR points in all 4 games this year. He has 67 to 101 yards and 1 to 2 touchdowns in 3 out of 4 games. He's seeing 23.3% of the targets. He saw 25% of the targets in his first game without Mike Evans. Dude is balling, and it's not a fluke. Like, he's getting the opportunity. He's getting the targets. He's getting the looks. Very much an option here. But you'll see by the red dot, his matchup is not pretty. Seattle with their second-year head coach who has a very defensive background. He was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. He's got that defense playing well, and it's creating problems in fantasy football. The Seahawks are currently a terrifying matchup for wide receivers, limiting them to the 9th fewest catches, 2nd fewest yards, 6th fewest touchdowns, and 3rd fewest PPR points per game, 4th fewest PPR points per catch. Wide receivers that played 75+% of the snaps against the Seahawks this year are averaging just 11 PPR points per game on 7.8 targets. Marvin Harrison had a good game against them last week. It started poorly, like really poorly, but he picked it up. Michael Wilson didn't, but Michael Wilson never does. Chris Olave did all right. Calvin Austin didn't do anything. DK Metcalf really didn't do anything. And Ricky Pearsall did okay. He did pretty well. So ultimately, we're feeling okay about Egbuka, but I'd probably prefer Xavier Worthy so far there. I was trying to think if that already answered the question, but it doesn't because we got a couple other guys here to go through. Ashton Genty. Let me click out Ashton Genty. Who are the Raiders? Okay, here we go. Boomer bust RB2. Now, the game itself, it's hard to feel good about Raiders players this week just because of the game environment. They're entering week 5. They're 6.5-point road underdogs to the Colts. They have an implied point total of just 20.5 points, so they're right there with the Buccaneers. Very similar touchdown opportunity at the team level. 7th lowest among all 28 teams playing. Now, what we don't like about this game, specifically for Ashton Genty, is the spread of the game, right? The Raiders are 6.5-point underdogs. That suggests they will be playing this game from behind. They will be in catch-up mode. They'll be in comeback mode. It suggests a possible pass-heavy game script at the expense of rushing volume. That's a red flag. That's something to be aware of, something to be on alert for. And on top of all that, that's a threat to his volume. But then they also have the low implied point total of just 20.5 points. That suggests fewer touchdown opportunities. So we're reducing overall volume. We're reducing touchdown opportunity. There's some red flags here to the profile for Ashton Genty. Now, that said, the game does have a strong 47.5 over/under, which is tied for the third highest among all 14 games, and that suggests just a sliver of hope for a possible shootout in fantasy football if the Raiders can exceed their scoring expectations. Personally, I think they can. It depends which version of Geno Smith you're going to get here this week. I mean, you know the story with Genty, right? He started this career with 3 straight busts, to the point where people were already calling him a bust, which was insane. But he started the season with 3 straight busts before he finally had this volcanic eruption last week. He's averaging, after that eruption, he's now averaging 15 plus PPR points per game, which is pretty funny because he scored fewer than 13 PPR points in each of the first 3 games, but he scored 35 plus last week, which was insane. But he is getting 18.8 touches. Now, unfortunately, he's only getting 2 targets per game. That is a problem if this game does turn pass heavy. And if the Raiders fall behind quick, if they have to abandon the run, that's all bad news for Ashton Genty because he hasn't really been a part of their passing attack or their plan. But still, he's handling 76.5% of the backfield touches for the Raiders, but just 6.5% of the team's targets. He's a boomer bust RB2 with a scary game script, but the matchup is not so scary. Now, the Colts might, on the surface, they actually might look like a really tough matchup for running backs because they're holding running backs to the 11th fewest catches, 11th fewest rushing yards, 10th fewest receiving yards, 15th fewest touchdowns, and 6th fewest PPR points per game. All of that sounds really bad. But they're allowing the 14th most PPR points per touch, 0.88. That suggests they may not be as much of a shutdown defense as they appear. It's just running backs aren't getting very many touches against them. In fact, you can see they're holding running backs to the 2nd fewest touches in all of football. So that makes that suggests that the Colts defense isn't quite as shut down as they might appear. Now, you'll see here, Devon Achane plus J.K. Dobbins plus Tony Pollard plus Kyron Williams, from pretty significant names. They averaged 14.6 points on 14.8 touches against the Colts. Very mediocre matchup there, okay? So we did Egbuka, we did Worthy, we did Genty, and Keenan Allen, man. Keenan Allen is feeling like one of those guys you got to put in there every single week. Just like I got him in the green column with a blue dot. That's typically means you got to put him in your lineup. That means you feel really good about them. High-end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 ceiling. This is a game you want exposure to. Great game. High over under 47.5 points. Both teams are sporting top 12 implied totals of 22 or more. The Chargers in particular are entering as 2.5-point home favorites, implied point total of 25 points. This game's got shootout written all over it. Plenty of action, plenty of touchdowns, plenty of fantasy football fireworks. Keenan Allen has 3 booms and 1 bust so far. He's getting his 16.3 PPR points per game. Really strong target count, 8.8 targets per game. He's getting 7 to 11 targets every single game, 5 to 7 catches. Strong. He's got 24.5% of the team's targets. He's a high-end wide receiver too. This is a shootout. Really friendly matchup with the Commanders. The Commanders are allowing the 9th most yards, 8th most touchdowns, 9th most PPR points, 4th most PPR points per catch. Wide receivers that play 75% or more of the snaps against Washington are averaging 16.5 points and 7.3 targets per game. Drake London got 25 against them last week. Trey Tucker put up 40 against them 2 weeks ago. Malik Neighbors got 12, which isn't great. Ultimately, Keenan Allen is a guy you got to have in there. All right. So who is on the bench here? I hate to say it, but my brain is going to Ashton Genty. He's going to be like the safest one because he's like running backs get the volume and wide receivers are no sure thing to get volume. Like the quarterback has to throw them the ball for them to get volume, whereas running backs, they just get handed it, right? So
correct.
It's hard to say the running back, especially a running back who's coming off a 35-point game, but I don't know. To me, Worthy has to be in there. Keenan Allen has to be in there. And then it's between Genty and Egbuka. And I think that one's about 50-50. I personally am leaning. Half PPR point per first down too.
Yeah.
I'm going to flip back to Genty then. I'm going to flip back. The point first down thing helps because 3rd and 1, hand the ball to your running back. I don't have my data handy on. I have first down data. I just don't have it in front of me right now. I would have to look that up. But
you got to keep Worthy in that action, right?
Yeah. I'm keeping Worthy.
I think Egbuka is probably your outside in on that one because he is a guy that likes to explode for those big plays. Yeah. Keenan's a clutch guy, so.
Yeah, I'm probably leaving Egbuka out here, which sounds weird, man. How do you leave Egbuka out? But how do you leave any of these guys out? That's insane, man. I'm gonna go ahead and leave Egbuka out of here, but either way, you've already won. Like you're good.
Yeah, I agree there. No, appreciate it, Trevor. Appreciate it on the comments here. Jacob 4, I assume right now he's sharing what he's got currently in play here. He's got his roster, half PPR, 2 flex.
Jacob,
Genty, Daddle. There you go. Genty, Daddle, Egbuka, JSN, Juwan Johnson, Born DeMarcado, and he's benching Caleb Bijan. Why are we benching Bijan?
Bye week.
Yeah.
Bye week.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. We got a bye week start, man.
Yeah.
Bill, Tootin, Golden, and CD on the IR. Yeah. I think you're.
What's the question? Just like, does this look okay?
I think he's just sharing his lineup here, what he's got going on this week here.
All right, let me look at this again then. Drake May, Genty, Dowdle. Dowdle's great plug and play. Egbuka, JSN, stud. Juwan Johnson, like greatest tight end of all time. All of a sudden, Kendrick Bourne, baby. I'm glad you got Kendrick Bourne in there. I sent out. Listen, here's another reason that you should consider joining Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. I sent out a notification to my entire subscriber base on Wednesday night that said, hey, if you're looking for a wide receiver, pick up Kendrick Bourne. Boom. 10 plus. Oh, like I was so happy watching him go off yesterday. But anyway, DeMarcado. And then, so on the bench, Caleb Williams. All right. So first of all, who do the Bears? Oh, Bears are on bye too. So that's not even a decision.
Yeah.
Bijan, Bill, I wouldn't consider. Tootin, I wouldn't. Yeah, that looks good. There's nothing I would change there at all. The only thing I would change there is not having 2 quarterbacks. I would drop one of those guys, assuming it's like a normal style league. Correct. I wouldn't want 2 quarterbacks, but yeah.
Correct. Jordan out here commenting back on his original question. He's like, "Is it smart to roster Michael Carter too?"
Yeah, 100%. If you have the roster space, you got nothing to lose. What if he ends up with 15 plus touches this week and now he's just sitting on your bench? So yeah, scoop him up. Take
it. Hakuna Matata 69. Nice. I love it. I love that name. And he has Napa in the little icon, from what was that? The late night show on Toonami. Oh my god.
That I got nothing. I don't know what that is.
I love that. I love the little logo he has. I got a trade proposal. I sent Woody Marks and JSN. I send Woody Marks and JSN, and I get JT. I also have Brees and CMC. My other receivers include Brown, Flowers, Olave, and Persal. Thoughts?
Oh God, I want JT. Like JT would arguably be the number 1 overall pick if we drafted today. But dude, JSN's a stud, man. Absolute stud. If this is PPR, it's really hard to get rid of JSN. If it's not PPR, different story. You also have Brees. You got CMC. So you're good at RB1. RB2 is tricky. Brees isn't quite it this year. Wide receivers, AJ Brown isn't getting you what you need. Flowers has been great. It's going to be interesting with Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush did a really good job. I wrote this in the week winner. Cooper Rush did a great job getting CeeDee Lamb the ball. So I'm not too worried about Zay Flowers, but it's not Lamar Jackson. Chris Olave is getting a monster target share. Pearsall looks great when he's actually on the field. So your wide receivers are pretty good. They're fine. I wouldn't do this trade. As much as I would love JT, there's a couple things here. I wouldn't do this trade, and I got 3 main reasons. Number 1, Woody Marks is not somebody I would be looking to trade away right now. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be JT. I'd take JT over Woody Marks all day long, no doubt. But this is like Nick Chubb is not the same Nick Chubb. Joe Mixon might not play football this year. Like this thing could get to a point where Woody Marks is getting you 15 plus touches per game, meaning the drop off from JT to Woody Marks there. JT will be at the top, but Woody Marks won't be so far behind that this is a no-brainer. I think Woody Marks is like last week wasn't a fluke. He balled out and he's ready to show more of it in the upcoming weeks. And then you don't lose JSN. JSN is your best wide receiver. He's better than AJ Brown. He's better than Zay Flowers. He's better than Olave. He's better than Pearsall. And then the third reason is it's too early for me to want to trade away a young wide receiver in exchange for heavy workload running back, especially a guy with historically bad ankles. Like, I love Jonathan Taylor. I hope he stays healthy. I mean, go Badgers. I'm a Badger fan, and like, I obviously love him. I hope he stays healthy, but it's week 5. The dude has terrible ankles. He's getting a ton of work. I would hate to see you make this trade, and then by week 12, you're trying to find a running back because you lost JT for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I'm not wishing that on him, but maybe I would revisit this trade later in the season, or a trade later in the season, but I wouldn't do it right now.
I mean, if you think about it too, right? Woody Marks is on the rise, as we're seeing. JSN, like you keep saying, freaking stud. Mm-hmm. And you can't count on AJ Brown to get points every week. Zay Flowers, honestly, still up in the air to see exactly how long Lamar's out and stuff. But JSN kind of makes up for that kind of missing points in Olave. I don't know what to do with Olave half the time, so I think you're better off not making this trade. Because as much as I love JT as well, I would not make this trade. This would not help your roster be better. So,
and you already got CMC locking up your, like, he'll anchor your running back room, no problem. Then you throw Woody Marks in the 2. I think overall, I'm gonna stick with Woody Marks and JSN. I'm open to entertaining that trade later in the season, but right now I just stick it out, keep going.
Great, appreciate it. Hakuna Matata 69, nice. Lethal Jake out here. Jake. Hello, gents. Start 3 half PPR. Judkins, Monty, Daddle, Rashad White.
You hear me? You got me?
Gotcha.
Oh, I just did a weird disappearing thing. Anyway, what's with all the half PPR people hanging out?
Half PPR, man. Yeah.
Today? It's crazy. I'm going to do some research on what the most common fantasy league is. Is it PPR, half PPR, standard?
I thought it was always full PPR.
I think it's PPR, but I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just a weird night. It's most likely just a weird night. Before I answer this question, my friends, just a reminder, if you're tuning in, if you're new and you missed it, I'm giving away an autographed NFL jersey at the very end of this episode. I will be spinning what I like to call the Supreme Wheel of Randomness, and whatever the wheel lands on, that person is going to choose an autographed NFL jersey of their choice. I give away an autographed NFL jersey every single month. January, February, March, doesn't matter. There's going to be at least one autographed jersey given away every single month. No cost to enter. The only requirement is that you must be a member of Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. So if you want to become a member, Nope, that way. Scan that QR code right over there, right up here above my head. It's going to take you to my website where you can join, and you don't even have to pay full price to do it, because if you enter promo code YouTube, dang, Tanner, that was awesome. If you enter promo code YouTube, all caps, you're going to get half off your monthly membership every single month for as long as you remain a member of the Basement Brewed Fantasy Football family. If you're a member, you get access to the week winner that we've been walking through the entire episode. You get access to my Discord server, which I haven't even shown you yet. You get access to a new jersey giveaway every single month. During draft season, you get access to my draft dominator. I have a new resource that I'm releasing tonight or tomorrow called the Hit Rate Cheat Sheet, which is going to help you with prop bets. Yeah, Tanner's listening. Prop bets and like pick 'em. So it, like when you look at a player's over under on rushing yards, I'm going to show you how frequently they hit that specific over under every single player, every single game. Okay. That's coming out tonight or tomorrow. You're going to have access to that. Anyways, half off, promo code YouTube. And by the way, if you join right now today, I will check before I spin that Supreme Wheel of Randomness, and I will add your name to it. So you could sign up right now, and within 29 minutes, when we wrap this show up, you could be the owner of a new shiny jersey. So anyway, question was, I don't remember.
And I'm coming back up to it.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, the hit rate cheat sheet, dude. It's pretty. I mean, it doesn't look pretty. It's
lethal cheat. There we go.
The hit rate cheat sheet doesn't. It's just a basic Google sheet, but it's packed with information. It's great. Like,
I'm excited now about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let me pop it up real quick. Hey, go ahead and share the screen if you can. Just a little sneak preview. Little sneak preview. All right. So basically, come on. All right, can you see this?
I can see it.
Are you seeing this, Tanner?
Yep, I see it.
All right, cool. All right, so basically, I'm releasing this tonight or tomorrow. It depends how much energy I have, but it's going to show you. This is specifically for week 5. It's showing you how frequently they're hitting that specific prop that they're set up for on drafters.com. Guys, if you've never played on Drafters, I highly recommend it. If you're into best ball, if you're into FanDuel, if you're into DraftKings, if you're into all of the daily sports, all of the fantasy football that you can stomach, check out drafters.com. And if you enter promo code BBFF when you make your first deposit, you are going to get a 100% match on your first deposit all the way up to $100. It's like getting a free $100 bill to play fantasy football with. And they have a pick'em section where you pick these props. You have to pick 2 or more. And if they hit on those props, you win money, right? So I'm putting out a weekly hit rate cheat sheet that's going to show you how frequently each player is hitting their prop if they're hitting it 75% of the time or more. So for example, this week, Drafters has Brian Thomas for over under 56.5 receiving yards. He has been under that. He's at 55 receiving yards or less in all 4 games this year. I wrote, man, I hope this is a trap, because at some point Brian Thomas is going to go over that number big time. But so far, he's maxed out at 55. He's been 55 or less. Drafters has him at 56.5. This one I really love. Chase Brown. The Bengals Drafters has Chase Brown for over under 50.5 rushing yards this week. He has 47 or less rushing yards in all 4 games this season. And now the Bengals are 10.5 point underdogs to the Lions. They won't be able to run the ball all that frequently if that spread holds true. So anyway, there are currently 104 different lines in here showing you players that are hitting over or under their prop at least 75% of the time, sorted by the 100%ers at the very top. This cheat sheet is coming out tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll see what kind of time that I have. But all you got to do if you want access to that is sign up right here. Scan that QR code, takes you to Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. Enter promo code YouTube, all one word, 50% off every single month as long as you decide to remain a member. And even if like fantasy football is not going on in March, even though it is, because we're doing fantasy football contests, we're doing best ball. We never stop. But if you stay subscribed in March, you're still getting half off. You're still getting jersey giveaways, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's go to the next question.
All right, back to Lethal Jake here. By the way, Lethal Jake just subbed, baby. That's what we like to see. Hey, we're trying to make that 1,000 here. So appreciate you, Lethal.
We're trying to. Yep, we're creeping up on 900, man.
We are. We're there. We're working on it. Lethal Jake. Start 3, half PPR, Judkins, Monty, Dowdle, White.
I think the odd man out here is going to be Dowdle. We'll go to the heat map. We already talked about Judkins. Feeling pretty. Did I just call it the heat map again? I did. It's never. I'm always going to call it that, but it's all right. It's the week winner. That's a better descriptor for it. But if I say heat map, know that I'm talking about this thing. Judkins, we like. He's going to be in there. I can already tell you that. So you can take him off the list. We already talked about Judkins. Tanner, I believe this episode will post on YouTube after we're done recording, correct? So if anybody wants,
this will be on YouTube. This will also be on Spotify, Apple Podcast. Your name it for your podcast. Okay. On top of that, you can watch Twitch rewinds and also on the face of the book and X as well.
Nice. Yeah. So if you want to listen, we covered Judkins a little bit ago. So feeling good about Judkins this week, just in general. We'll go to David Montgomery. Where is David Montgomery? All right. So David Montgomery is going to be in there, and I'll tell you why. Love David Montgomery. We'll skip that, maybe come back to it. Game environment. This is one of the main reasons we love David Montgomery. So the Lions are entering week 5 as dominant 10.5 point road favorites with an elite implied point total of 30 points. Okay. Basically, the two things I'm saying there is A, the Lions are expected to win and win by a lot. That suggests a positive game script. That suggests plenty of rushing attempts. I wrote down here that Jared Goff has thrown less than 29 pass attempts in each of the last 3 games, and that could easily continue to be the case, continue to be the trend here in week 5. If the Lions just dog walk Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals, there's no read for Jared Goff to be throwing the ball 30, 40 times. He might not even need to throw the ball in the second half. Turn around, stick it in the belly of David Montgomery, and just let him do his thing, okay? Also, we talked about the implied point total, right? The Lions are projected for 30 real-life points. That's 4+ touchdowns. David Montgomery is a pretty decent bet to be one of those guys scoring one of those 4 touchdowns, okay? Anytime you have an offense that's projected to score that much, that's an offense that you want exposure to in your fantasy football lineup. Either you want Lions in your lineup, but you feel pretty good about David Montgomery too. It's been a bit of a roller coaster with Montgomery, and it always will be as long as he's running with Jahmyr Gibbs. But he's still getting you 13 PPR points per game, 12.3 touches per game. He scored just 1.2 points last week and 8.3 points in week 1, but he also got you 13 in week 2 and 29.4 just 2 weeks ago. Okay. So the floor itself can be a little bit shaky. The ceiling is really nice, but typically in a game like this where the Lions are expected to win and win big, these are the types of games where David Montgomery can rack up a ton of rushing attempts. Now here's where it gets really juicy is the matchup. Okay. The Cincinnati Bengals after 4 games are a mouth-watering matchup for running backs. Okay. They are bleeding the 2nd most rushing yards, which is where David Montgomery butters his bread, 9th most catches, 7th most receiving yards, 3rd most touchdowns, which is where David Montgomery butters his bread, 2nd most PPR points per game, 6th most PPR points per touch. Running backs that handled 15+ touches against the Bengals this year are averaging 17+ PPR points and 17+ touches per game. Dobbins got 11, Harvey got 19, Jordan Mason got 23, ETN got 16, heck, Dylan Sampson got 17, and that's not even mentioning Bashal Tutin, who scored 15.4 points on just 10 touches in week 2. David Montgomery, we feel really good about. Quinshon Judkins, we feel really good about. Then also, who else was? Thank you, sir. Rico Dowdle. We talked about Rachaad White, too, so if you want to rewind on that one, you totally can. We're feeling okay about Rachaad White. We're feeling really good about Rachaad White's volume. We're not feeling terrific about his matchup or the fact that the Buccaneers are 3.5-point underdogs, but we're feeling okay. He's a rock solid RB2 this week. Now, Rico Dowdle. Oh, you know what? I need to update this after this episode because today they officially ruled out Chuba Hubbard. So I need to take him out, slide Rico Dowdle in. But let me tell you what I was thinking for Chuba because plenty of it applies here. Chuba, the Panthers, the game in particular, it's solid over under 45.5 points, 7th highest among all games. Both teams are sporting top 14 implied totals. Dolphins at Panthers actually has a little bit of a shootout appeal to it. But the Panthers are 1.5-point home underdogs, so the game should be a pretty balanced script. It's a neutral game script, right? So there's nothing that suggests it's going to be particularly pass heavy, particularly run heavy. It just should be kind of neutral. Okay. The matchup against the Dolphins is a bit up and down for running backs. They are, on the one hand, they're allowing the 6th most rushing yards, 7th most catches, 4th most receiving yards, and 11th most PPR points per game. But on the flip side, they are holding running backs to the 3rd fewest touchdowns and thus the 13th fewest PPR points per touch. Now, running backs that are getting 15 plus touches against the Dolphins are averaging 17.2 points, but on 19.5 touches per game. Breece Hall got 16 on 19. James Cook got 20 on 22. Ramondre got 19 on 16. And Jonathan Taylor got 12 on 21. Okay. So ultimately with Rico Dowdle, if we're assuming he is going to just kind of step in where Chuba Hubbard left off. Now, remember, they do have the rookie Trevor Etienne, who is likely to fill in on passing downs. Maybe not all passing downs, but at least some passing downs, which is potentially going to take away some of the targets for Rico Dowdle. Now, Rico Dowdle's a more than capable backup option for the Panthers. So he'll be fine this week. He's a nice plug and play option. If we have to leave one on the bench in this situation, I'm not leaving Quinshon Judkins on the bench. I'm not leaving David Montgomery on the bench. And I would prefer Rachaad White over Rico Dowdle. But I do think it's close because Rachaad White's matchup is terrifying and Rico Dowdle's matchup's on the friendlier side. I think it's closer than people realize. I think I'm going to stick with Bucky Irving here, but man, don't go with Bucky Irving. That'll get you a 0. Go with Rachaad White.
He's looking for a bench one, so Bucky would work. So.
Yeah, if Bucky was in here, bench Bucky. But Rachaad, I think I'm going to stick with Rachaad White. And the reasoning there is Rachaad White is a sure thing. Well, there's no such thing as a sure thing in this game, but as close to a sure thing as it gets for a guy who should remain involved in the passing game. Like he should get 3, 4, 5 targets just like Bucky Irving does. Whereas Rico Dowdle might cede some of that work, which is really valuable work in a half PPR league where you do get points for that. If he's going to cede that work to Trevor Etienne, there's a little bit of a red flag there. So I think what I'm doing internally is erring on the side of caution and knowing what we get out of Rachaad White, whereas we don't quite know what to expect out of Rico Dowdle with the Panthers, whether or not Trevor Etienne is going to get some work. I think that's where that's coming from. But shoot, dude, if you want to aim for upside, if you want to swing for Rachaad White's going to be the safe play. He's going to be the safer option. But if you want to swing for upside, Rico Dowdle's got a much better matchup and a higher implied point total. So I'm more than fine with you going Rico Dowdle here over Rachaad White. In fact, flip it, man. Let's flip the answer. We're going back to Rico Dowdle, 51% to 49%.
There you go. He also wants to know, he has Lamar. He's out. Lamar's out, guys.
Yeah.
Dak or Bryce Young?
Man, I don't necessarily love go Dak. I had to remind myself who they. Oh yeah, Cowboys Jets. I want exposure to that game. Cowboys Jets. We talked a little bit about this earlier in the show, so I won't belabor it as I tend to do. But Cowboys Jets could be a little bit of a shootout. I want exposure to that game. Dak obviously played great, unfortunately, last week against my Green Bay Packers. Not that he's a model of consistency, but Bryce Young, dude, Bryce Young has one good game and it's been ugly ever since. Dallas, I mean, that Cowboys-Jets game, I'm looking back at it here, 47.5 over under. Cowboys are hovering around 24, 25 points. Jets are giving up the 10th most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. I'd be going with, I feel much better about Dak than Bryce Young here.
I'd agree. I'd agree on that. And by the way, Bryce Young's good game, the blowout against the Falcons, he only threw it 23 times.
Yeah, he just connected on. Yeah, yep. He just made
didn't even score. It was like 14 points or something like that. It wasn't even that much. Like it should have been more based off that score. So yeah, take Dak for sure. Appreciate you, Lethal Jake. Woody the Badger over here. Should I drop Torrey Horton, the Seattle receiver, for Brashad Smith? Woo-hoo.
I think man. I think it comes down to what you need. Ultimately, I usually err on the side of running backs in these because they can come into much, much greater value faster than a wide receiver can. Like if something happens to Cooper Kupp, Torrey Horton doesn't just automatically become this like wide receiver 3 that you can start every week. Whereas if something happens to Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco, or if they just continue down the same trend that they're currently going in, Brashard Smith, like that backfield could open up because of how bad it is. There's nobody running away with that job. If Brashard Smith gets an opportunity, like the problem is I just don't love Brashard Smith. So it's hard for me to say go Brashard Smith here, but I tend to lean towards a running back in this situation because think about last week. If you were stashing Torrey Horton or Rico Dowdle went from entirely useless to an RB2 this week, like that. And that wouldn't happen with Torrey Horton. Torrey Horton would need both Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp to get hurt. But if Jackson Smith and Jigba gets hurt, Cooper Kupp is probably going to be the main beneficiary. Cooper Kupp gets hurt, Jackson Smith and Jigba is just going to get more targets. So typically I would side with the running back in these, but I don't love Brashard Smith, but that backfield's wide open and crazier things have happened. So I personally, if it were me, I'd be stashing Smith and not Torrey Horton.
I think we finally saw some usage out of Smith last week, and supposedly the reports, you believe the reports as much as you want, but we're supposed to see an increased usage. And quite frankly, you're getting out of Pacheco and Kareem Hunt in the passing game in the backfield. It could be questionable. I'd give it a week here again. I'd give it a week, see what his usage is, because we talked about it already with Xavier Worthy coming out of the backfield. That could affect his Smith's value as well.
Well, and think of it this way, man. Neither one of these guys have a floor. It's a 0 floor.
Correct.
But the upside, that definitely bends Brashad Smith's ways, for sure.
Yeah. So, no, but stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, I would scoop up. And for what it's worth, Tanner, let me share my screen real quick here. On the week winner, I have a streamers and stashes tab every single week. And I usually have a bunch of running backs stashed from top to bottom. These are the guys I would be looking at if I were you. I'm sure most, like RJ Harvey's probably not available, Brian Robinson. If they're on this list, it's because I've seen them on the waiver wire in at least one of my leagues. Like I was just able to pick up RJ Harvey this week. That was awesome. But I want to stash RJ Harvey, Brian Robinson, Bashal Tootin, Ray Davis, DJ Giddens. If you already have guys like Torrey Horton and Brashard Smith, like we're probably digging way down here, but see if AJ Dillon's available. Something happens to Saquon Barkley. AJ Dillon looks like the guy who's the next man up. Now they do have Tank Bigsby. They got Will Shipley. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but see if Kendre Miller's available. See if Jerome Ford, Raheem Mostert, Justice Hill, Isaiah Davis. I got an entire list of guys that I would stash at the end of my bench in this situation.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I love that tab. I tell you what, man, that's Thursday nights before Thursday night kickoffs. I'm going to sit on that tab, just make sure I got everything covered. That's how I go get my kickers and defenses for the week generally. So appreciate that tab a lot.
I actually had one of my members tell me that I should legitimately sell just that, like take that tab out, make it its own like PDF and just sell that because of the defenses and kickers. People go nuts over the defenses and kickers. By the way, if you're new to Basement Brewed Fantasy Football, I've been doing a kicker research project over the last 12 months to try and identify kickers that are going to score at least 11 fantasy points. And my friends, we have some very serious trends that have been successful in finding kickers that are going to score 11 plus points. It's super, like, I'm sure the people that are in my leagues think I'm just random as heck because I'll just drop Harrison Butker and pick up Will Reichard out of nowhere. But then Reichard goes and puts 14 points on the board. So it's like, it's wild how the kicker project has really taken off. But anyway.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing I look at too. And then tight ends is a big one for me too, because I couldn't always get top tight end when you're drafting out. So it's a big one. Always appreciate it.
Yep.
Matt C. Hey guys, in a redraft half PPR, got offered Addison for Rachaad White. I have depth at running back already.
I wonder if that's the Matt C. Matthew Coakley, my boy. In redraft. Half PPR, got offered Addison for Rachaad White. So you get Addison, you ship off Rachaad White. I have depth at running back. Yeah, if you don't need Rachaad White this week, then yeah, I'd do that for sure. Yeah. I mean, if all things are created equal, Bucky Irving's healthy. If Bucky Irving's healthy, Rachaad White is just a bench stash, and that's it. Jordan Addison can at least like find his way into your starting lineup. Now, if Bucky Irving's not healthy, Rachaad White's a potential RB1. So it really depends on your roster. But on like if everything's created equal in a vacuum, I'll take Addison over Rachaad White for sure.
All right. Just a little reminder, guys. Big jersey giveaway here for the month of September.
Yep. For
Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. All you got to do, and you can do this today, you'll still get entered at the end of this live show. Just by being a member of the Basement Brewed Fantasy Football crew. QR code right above Mikey's head. Scan it, takes you straight to where you need to be. The website's right there below. There's a link in the description.
It's everywhere.
Whatever you need to do. There's 3 ways to get there. Go get joined. And on top of that, promo code YouTube, capital YO-TUBE. YouTube, my bad. But 50% half off live for the membership. So as long as you are a member, you get 50% off your membership. Plain and simple. It's easy as that. And you get entered into these monthly drawings. So love it. Go sign up, guys. Like I said, we're cruising through these comments here. We're coming up here on the big reveal, on the big spin of randomness. It's coming soon. So make sure you get in while you can.
Let's rapid fire through what we still have.
Okay, here we go. Justice Scallywag. He's about to pull a trigger on a trade. 2 RB, 2 receiver, 1 flex PPR. Yeah, he's going to give away Nico and Dowdle to running back needy 0-4 team this week. Receive She Rice and Godwin, and he's 2-2.
That's for sure. Assuming Chuba Hubbard's injury is a short-term thing. Yeah, if it's a short-term thing, I'm doing that trade all day. Nico, it's not working out. I mean, he's staying afloat, but it's not pretty. It's not like he's not taking the league by storm. That's looking to be a first, second round bust. Not his fault, but just that offense is miserable. Rashee Rice, man, keep in mind, he's not out because of injury. He's out because of suspension. So he's going to be ready to roll. Like, it's not like he's coming off an ACL or something like that. He's going to be he
played in the preseason game, guys. Like he's not coming off an injury. So this is just rest and fresh legs.
Right. I guess I shouldn't say he's not coming off an ACL because he was coming off an injury, but I meant the reason he's out is because of suspension. Currently. It's not because of an injury. That's all I meant by that.
Correct. Yeah. Appreciate it, Justice. Appreciate it. Dude, check the status. What's up on Twitch? Appreciate you commenting. Would you drop Charb for Rico? Yes, Hampton, Bucky, Benson, Brown, and Charb.
Oh no! I mean, if you're going to start Hampton this week, you can't do Bucky, you can't do Benson. You don't want to do Brown. Long term, I would not do I would try and figure something out for this week. Charbonnet's doing enough. Charbonnet is doing enough to stay afloat as an RB3 flex as is, and he has RB1 upside if anything happens to Kenneth Walker. So I would not drop him if you don't have to.
Agreed.
That actually just reminded me, I have to add Sharp, see if he's still available. He was on waivers in one of mine. I got to see if I can scoop him up real quick.
Go grab him, dude. The Smitty. He's a 2 QB flex league here. He wants Stafford, and the guy wants DK. And we play with defensive players. So he's offering Mac Jones, Purdy, and DK in a running back for Stafford and Fred Warner. What running back would you give up? Henderson, Monty, White, or Marks?
Oh my God, this is cheap. All right, so okay, you know what? At first I read this and I'm like, this is so complicated, but he's not asking me to weigh in on any of that. He just wants to know what running back I will give up. First of all, Smitty, I hope you're loving your league because that is a chaotic league. I love that. That's awesome. What running back would you give up? Trevan, Henderson, Monty, White, or Marks? If you're not going to use White this week, then I would be fine with trading White because if Bucky Irving's injury is not going to be a long-term thing, and take that with a grain of salt. I have not done any research on Bucky Irving today. Like once I finished the week winner, I kind of unplugged for a minute. But as far as I know, Bucky Irving's injury is not going to be a long-term thing. So if you can survive this week without Rachaad White and possibly next week without Rachaad White, he'd be the one. Like Henderson is not somebody I would want to trade away. That's somebody I'd want to keep on my bench. Like he just fits the profile of one of those late rookie running back surges, just like Woody Marks. Monty's a solid RB2. I would just stick with, I'd trade away Rachaad White for sure. If you're going to trade one of these guys away, if you can survive without him this week.
Down with it. All right. Appreciate this, Smitty. Jimbo Fisher, 0.5 PPR, pick 2, Slayton, Dowdle, C. Brown, and Carter.
C. Brown. Chase Brown? Chase Brown. It's got to be Chase Brown. And Michael Carter and Rico Dowdle. I'm definitely going Dowdle over Carter because of just the uncertainty. Like, we just don't know. It might be Demercado. It's probably Carter, but it might be Demercado. Either way, we know it's Rico Dowdle. So I'm going Rico Dowdle there. Slayton, I feel good about moving forward because he's playing like 90+% of the snaps. And Malik, we talked about this earlier, Malik Neighbors' injury frees up 30% of the targets. But he also was playing nearly 100% of the snaps before and receiving none of the targets, but Malik Neighbors was in. So that makes sense. I do like Darius Slayton moving forward. I'm not ready yet to like throw him into a lineup until I see him produce and actually do something with the opportunity. I'd feel much better about using one of these running backs here. And then, I mean, what are you going to do, man? Are you really going to go Michael Carter over Chase Brown, who you spent your second round pick on? Like, and I take that with a grain of salt. At this point, it doesn't matter what round you drafted a guy, but like Chase Brown, it's not happening, but the volume is there. He is, you don't have to share the screen, but I just want to pull up. See, that's another thing that's really cool about the week winner is that it's basically a giant library of information. Like, you want to know how many passes Patrick Mahomes is throwing? Like I did with that Rashee Rice trade question, I popped open the week winner. Oh, okay. 35.6 passes per game. Chase Brown, we scroll down here. He is still handling 85% of the backfield touches. Like, sooner or later, something is going to happen for Chase Brown. 17 touches per game. How in the world you can handle 17 touches per game and average 9 points is insane. That is like alarmingly bad. And it's not all him. It's the offense in general. The offense just looks miserable. Dude, and then they're 10.5 point underdogs. They're going to have to abandon the run. They're going to have to put the ball in the air. The Lions are a mediocre matchup for running backs, but so to me, your decision here is this. Do you go with Chase Brown, who you know is going to get the volume, 90+% of the, or 85, 90% of the backfield touches, or Michael Carter, who has a great matchup, a great environment, a great situation? We just don't know. So here's what I'll say, Jimbo Fisher, is I don't know what happened for you on Thursday Night Football. I don't know if you had Kendrick Bourne or you're going against Kendrick Bourne or Jake Tunges, Christian McCaffrey. if you're projected to win, projected to lose, if you feel like you need safety and floor, go Chase Brown. Like, we know the volume is going to be there. It might be ugly, but the volume will be there. You can bank on it. If you want to if you just want to swing for the fences and go for the upside, it's Michael Carter. He's got a great matchup against the Titans. We just don't know about the volume. If you can stomach the 0, stomach a 2, stomach a 3, a 4, in exchange for the potential of a 20, it's Michael Carter.
Okay. There you go. There you go. Tristan, NHL. Hey, can I trust Jordan Mason or go AJ Brown? No PPR in this one.
I'll tell you who you can't trust, AJ Brown. That dude had 1 20-point game, and the rest are like 1, 3, and 5-pointers. It's been pretty miserable. Listen, that Browns Vikings game, it's ugly. We talked about it earlier, but it is going to be close. It's going to be competitive. The Vikings should be able to give him 15 plus touches. The matchup is miserable. Like, the Browns are freaking nightmare for running backs. You can't love that. But it's like, if the question is who we're going to trust, I don't see how in the world you can trust AJ Brown right now. Jordan Mason is a much, 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 much safer bet for volume than AJ Brown is. AJ Brown arguably is going to bring the upside. He's going to bring the ceiling. But if you're looking for floor, that's Jordan Mason.
Yeah, agreed.
And it says no PPR.
Yeah, I'm leaning Jordan Mason on this one.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, Trevor Austin, no problem. Oh, hey, love. Oh, how you doing? How we doing? Appreciate you commenting in. You know, I had to make sure, only me. Oh, there's Mikey. Hey, Mikey. How you doing?
Did you boot me out?
Yeah, I booted you out.
Oh. I was like, how in the world did she just chime in and all of a sudden I'm not in the stage? That was awesome. That was well played. Holy crap, that was funny. What's up, babe? I'll be up. We can watch our show here in a little bit. We're binge watching this like Amanda Knox documentary, which I didn't know. I was under a rock. I didn't know anything about any of this. So I'm like on the edge of my seat watching all this. Didn't know anything about it. But
dang. I didn't know there was something for it.
Yeah, I'll be up in a little bit, sweetie. We can watch that. If it's not that, we're watching Only Murders in the Building. So
there you go. Milkman YouTube, guys, love the show. Hey, we appreciate you commenting in. I'm in a pickle between starting Zay Flowers over Michael Carter, 16-man, half PPR.
Michael Carter questions. Look, man, it's the same type of deal. If you're
Big.
Zay Flowers is going to be a much safer investment because we know what we're getting out of him. I will tell you, let me pull it up real quick. And we don't necessarily need to show the map because I know we're trying to cruise a little bit. That's fine too. Either way, I will tell you, Zay Flowers. I wrote this in the week winner. Where is it? Here we go. Zay Flowers will now be catching passes from Cooper Rush, who did an okay job getting CeeDee Lamb the ball while filling in for Dak Prescott last year. In 8 games with Cooper Rush last season, CeeDee Lamb averaged 16.2 targets per game. And this is where it's really encouraging, is 10 targets. He was getting 10 targets per game from Cooper Rush. Point being, Cooper Rush has no issue peppering his top dog, and that's Zay Flowers. It's not Rashad Bateman. It's not Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. It's Zay Flowers. In fact, Zay Flowers is seeing about 30% of the team's targets already. And another thing is the Ravens obviously won't have Lamar Jackson, and Cooper Rush is not the same type of quarterback. The dude doesn't run with the football. So if they are going to move the ball through their quarterback, it has to be through passing. There could be more passing attempts with the Ravens than usual with Lamar Jackson. And if you got Zay Flowers, a guy with a 30% target share, they might not be the best quality targets like Lamar can bring, but you could make up for that loss of quality in a boost in quantity. So my whole point is, don't panic about like Lamar Jackson not being there. Cooper Rush has no problem peppering his dude, and that could be Zay Flowers. I feel better about Zay Flowers than I do about Michael Carter. We just don't know. Like, Michael Carter can get you 0. He can get you 20. If you can stomach the possibility of a 0 in exchange for a 20, then I'm fine with putting Michael Carter in there. But if you just want to go and get those quote unquote guaranteed points, which is a very dangerous word. You can't say guaranteed in fantasy football ever. But Zay Flowers 30% target share, guy who might have to throw, guy who has no problem peppering his number one wide receiver. I'm okay with Zay Flowers. I'm blanking on who are the Ravens playing. Oh, Texans. They're playing the Texans. Should be a good game. Yeah.
All right. So 2 last questions here. Okay. Yep. 2 last questions, and then we're getting ready to spin the wheel. Spin the wheel. Keon Coleman or Demercado?
Demercado now. Yeah, Keon Coleman, there's nothing safe about Keon Coleman. He went crazy in week 1 and nothing ever since. So we're taking 2 guys that have no floor and nothing but ceiling. But here's the thing, dude. The Bills are, 8.5-point favorites over the Patriots. Theoretically, it's one of those games where Josh Allen might not throw 30 passes. He hasn't thrown 30 passes since week 1. And Keon Coleman hasn't done anything since week 1. If Demercado, they're going to give you a very similar floor, but Demercado's path to upside is a lot. It's a lot easier to see Demercado's path to upside if they give him the touches.
And then finally, Super Lee, 0.5 PPR, Flex Daddle or Demercado.
Dude, we're just gonna have to do a Demercado Carter Dowdle
Michael
show.
Carter show.
We got to go Rico Dowdle here. He's going to be the RB1 for Carolina, and we can't say that with certainty for Demercado. It could easily be Michael Carter. Easily. It's got to be Dowdle.
By the way, this is a good trade. He got Rashee Rice and Garrett Wilson for Chase Brown, Godwin, and Dubs.
That's not a good trade. That is we should call the cops and report robbery.
Holy cow.
Dude, I would potentially trade Chase Brown and Godwin for one of those guys.
For one of those guys. You added Dubs and you got both? Yeah, no, that's a hell of a trade. Insane. All right, this was legit the last comment here on the list. Would you trade Woody for Daniel Jones? He has Stroud.
What did you say? Stroud? Oh, Stroud. Okay.
Yeah.
If this is a 1 quarterback league, then absolutely not. If it's a 2 quarterback league, then yeah, now we're talking. But if this is a 1 quarterback league, and assuming your roster is somewhat, or your league is somewhat normal, roster size, waiver wire pool size, you're going to be able to find, you can pop open the streamers and stashes tab on the week winner every single week, and you can find some quarterbacks that you can just plug and play right off waivers. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones is on there. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Drake May, Bo Nix, Tua Tagovailoa, Sam Darnold, Bryce Young, Geno Smith, Jackson Dart, CJ Stroud, Carson Wentz. Now, the problem for you is that we got CJ Stroud down at the bottom of this list, but see if any of these other guys are available that you could plug and play right off that. But if you're in a 1 quarterback league, my friend, and the roster settings and the league settings and all that is somewhat standard, it's not the sort of thing where the waiver wire pool is completely depleted. I guess what I'm saying is, if there's quarterbacks in your waiver wire pool, I wouldn't be doing that trade. Agreed. And if you're going to trade him, aim a little bit higher. Although, dude, Daniel Jones is balling, man.
He's playing well.
Yep.
He's playing well. There's a reason. If you guys ever find me on other shows and stuff early on, before the season started, I was a big part. As soon as I heard Daniel Jones was starting, I said, "Welcome back, Michael Pittman."
Oh yeah,
that's all I said, and I knew exactly we'd see him back. So, Mikey, I'll let you get underway, get prepped here. I'll let the viewers know here of how to find the week winner, how to make sure they know all the little access while you get everything ready to go for the.
Is it spinning time?
The prize spinning time.
All right, it's going to take me a minute. So, carry on.
You're good. Ladies and gentlemen,
let me first check if anybody signed up during the show.
Yeah. Check the signups.
Sorry.
Add anybody to the list here, and we'll go here. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you liked what you saw there with the week winner, with the streamers tab, hell, with that preview that Mikey gave us of the trends, that's nice to play for a little player props bets, underdog, drafters use promo code BBFF. Some other sites there. That's coming into play. I'm very excited for that one. Or just in general, wap.com/BBFF. You can go to scan the little QR code above Mikey's head currently. You go to the description down below. There is a link for you to click on here. And all you got to do is use promo code YouTube. 50% off. Literally 50% off the entire life of your membership from sign up. From sign up all the way through summer. You get the draft guide, the week winner. You get access to the Discord access. You know what? I got a better idea. Mikey, I got a way better idea here. We're going to show it. This is everything you guys get based off signing up today.
What's up, my fellow fantasy football nerds? If you're looking to dominate your league from start to finish and win cool prizes along the way, it's time to join the Basement Brewed Fantasy Football family. As a member, you're going to get our brand new 2025 Draft Dominator, which is your ultimate guide with tiers, rankings, and season previews for over 280 players to make sure you walk out of your draft with the best team in the league. And that's only the beginning. You're also going to get our 2025 Week Winner, which gives you contextual matchup analysis for every single player in every single game, every single week, so that you can conquer those difficult start-sit dilemmas and dominate your weekly matchups. And let's not forget our amazing Discord community, which is a family of passionate fantasy football players sharing strategy, workshopping dilemmas, and helping each other dominate 24/7, 365. Plus, if that wasn't enough, every single month you're automatically entered into our autographed jersey giveaway. It truly is a no-brainer if you want to take your fantasy game to the next level, have the most fun you've ever had playing this game, and support a small but mighty business along the way. Sign up today for just $69 for an entire year. Seriously. That's 365 days of total domination, community, and giveaways for less than your last bar tab. Join the BBFF family right now using the link that we left for you in the description of this episode. I'll see you inside.
I mean, there you go. Promo code right there. Go after it. Get it.
Are we ready?
Are you ready, Mikey?
Oh, no. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I got you.
Dude, can you hear me? Yeah, I think I'm ready.
I can hear you.
Are you hearing me okay?
Yep.
Oh, no. Hang on, y'all.
We can hear you.
Oh, I need a new computer. Bro, can you hear me?
Yes.
Brutal.
I can hear you. I can see it.
Can you hear me, Tanner?
Yes. World of connections, guys. Internet, computers, you love technology. Mikey, I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I heard you on both spots.
All right, hold on. Let me mute my mic. We'll get there.
There you go.
Dude, this is brutal.
All right, you're good to go.
All right. Should we spin this bad boy then?
Let's spin it.
All right. Here we go, y'all. Whoever this Wheel of Randomness lands on is going to be the winner of a brand new autographed jersey of their choice. Here we go. Let's spin it. Come on. Who do we got? I can't even see.
Let's see what this says. I can't see. There's a large amount of information.
All right. Let me close that. This is brutal. My goodness.
Yeah. Mute your mic. I can't.
I'm back. Jeez, that was brutal. I think, all right, I hope my wife is watching this because it's pretty clear I need a new computer. That was a nightmare. An absolute nightmare.
I heard you great too. Like I saw the wheels spinning for a minute and then it just went to air out, man. And then yeah. But we heard you great.
Wait, you didn't even see it finish?
No.
Oh, well, okay. Congratulations to Brad Baker. Brad Baker was the winner of the Supreme Wheel of Randomness. Sorry that just did not work out at all how I hoped it would. But Brad Baker, my friend, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. It means the world to me. Chasing a dream, and you're helping me do it, so I appreciate you more than you know. I will be in touch to figure out who you want. Which autographed NFL jersey do you want at your house? And we'll get in touch with BS Collectibles. I'll talk to my hookups over there, and we'll track down the jersey that you're looking for, and we'll get it in your hands. I mean, one of our members, he specifically wanted a Derrick Henry Titans, not Ravens, jersey. Rocco Richter's, my man, we found that for you. We sent that your way. So anyways, Brad Baker is the winner of the September jersey giveaway. And the next time we do a live wheel spin, I will use a different computer or something because my whole house almost just blew up when I tried to do that. That was insane. Anyway,
Laura,
is that it, Tanner? Are we about wrapping her up here?
That's it, guys. Hey, tune in next week. Stay tuned. Tune in next week.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Tune in next week. I believe the plan is for us to return to Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. The only reason we didn't do it this week is I'm at a wedding tomorrow night, and nobody wants me reading the week winner when I'm hungover. So let's just be honest about it. But yeah, that's going to do it for tonight, guys. I have to go watch the Amanda Knox documentary, get some popcorn. But I appreciate everybody who took the time to tune in here. Thanks for filling up our feed with questions. I'm literally sweating trying to answer your questions. And like Tanner mentioned before, we almost broke this entire show to spin that wheel of randomness. If you want to join the Basement Brewed Fantasy Football family, I would love to have you. You wouldn't only be supporting your fantasy football team, but you would be supporting me. You'd be supporting my content, my business, my dream, my journey. You'd be supporting everything that I'm living and breathing for every single day. So I appreciate you more than you know. All you got to do, scan that QR code and enter promo code BBFF. You're going to get half off for the entirety of your membership, the lifetime of your membership that you decide to be subscribed. Thank you for considering.
You mean YouTube?
Yeah, what did I say?
BBFF.
Oh, that's the promo code for most things, but
okay.
Yeah, for this, the promo code is just YouTube. You're gonna get 50% off. You're gonna get the week winner, the Discord server, the draft guide, the monthly giveaways, and the soon-to-be released hit rate cheat sheet that you can use for your prop bets and your pick'ems, which Tanner's like
excited. I'm so excited.
Tanner, you got anything else, or should I send it home?
Catch me this weekend, guys. I'll be over on the Rec Room Sports Hub. We'll be locking down our bets here, utilizing the new resource that's going to be provided to me, thanks to Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. So come join us. We'll answer your start state questions as well. On top of that, we'll give you your best sports bets for the day. The player props mainly is what we focus on the NFL side. So come join me. I'll be happy to discuss here and utilize my resources that I have. So appreciate everybody chiming in here. So
heck yeah, man. Definitely hop on Tanner's show. They're usually doing it's funny, and B, there's usually some pretty good stuff happening there. So anyways, if you tune in tonight, the Friday Night Lights episode of Inside the 20 by Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. That's Tanner Dawson. I'm Mikey Henninger. We will see you guys on the fantasy football field. Cheers. This brew's for you.